All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Session 7 of Star Trek Drake, an actual play of Star Trek Adventures using the rule set by Modiphius Entertainment. I'm ELH the Game Master, and joining me are a lovely group of individuals. Only announcement I have at the top of the stream is that Showa Station, a brand new Star Trek Adventures stream of mine that is set in the same year and setting as the Drake game, is going to start its very first session on August 1st, or next Monday. So definitely encourage you all to come out to the stream or watch the VOD and just give your support to them and cheer them on. But other than that, I don't really have much in the way to say, so let's go ahead and get everybody to introduce themselves, and we'll get started. So, Peter, what you got?
Hey everybody, I'm Peter, or Petrus Aquinas Online, and I play the culinarily challenged Zindi captain of the Drake, Captain Thalen.
You're a spy, you're up next.
I'm Jeremy, or you're a spy, and I play our ship's chief engineer, A.C. Chapin.
Jeff?
I'm Jeff, also known as Sunbay on the Discord forums and other internet-related places. And I play Commander Tucker Cole, the ship's human exo.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Randy.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Randy. I'm online as Dr. Nemesis. And in this game, I play Dr. Early Langerhausen, the Chief Medical Officer.
It also occurred to me as we were doing that back that I knew everyone's name except Jeremy's. I don't know why, Jeremy, your name keeps going into the ether, but I'll work on it. Anyway.
I'm eminently forgettable.
I have a cousin named Jeremy. I think that might be what
Maybe
it is.
Maybe you just don't look like a Jeremy.
Anyways, it's been a while since we've run the intro video, so enjoy. All right, and welcome back. So, something I pretty much do with all my games at this point is I have the players do an opening log, and today that honor is going to fall to our chief engineer, so take it away at your leisure.
Chief Engineer's Log, Stardate 0682.9. Starfleet has dispatched the Drake to explore a previously uncharted region of space. When we arrived in our assigned sector, sensors detected a neutronic storm headed our way. Zygen worked with Ricky to try and find a way to avoid it, but we just didn't detect it in time. The only way out is through, right? This storm is similar to one that the Enterprise encountered in 2152, but this is a Class 6 that would have torn that ship to matchsticks. Our new shields and armor should keep us safe enough that we don't have to cram the entire crew into the nacelles, but I've got my team on high alert in case something goes awry.
Ready. So, we open with a shot of the Drake sort of coasting along at impulse, and the camera sort of pans a little bit to the right, and we see the ominous, I guess you would call them clouds, of the neutronic storm approaching. Now, whereas in Enterprise, the Catwalk episode, we sort of saw purples and, well, mostly just purples. In this one, in this storm that is approaching, we see purples, blues, and even a little bits of red. If I were to sort of use another Star Trek reference for those of you who haven't seen Enterprise, imagine a mobile version of the Badlands. It's not something you want to deal with if you can help it. But as good old AC just said, unfortunately the crew has found themselves needing to weather the storm, as it were. So we're going to zoom in to the bottom side of the ship as we zoom into one of the conference rooms that is adjacent to the bridge, where all of you are going over last-minute preparations and reports during a senior staff meeting. So feel free to take it away at your leisure.
What I still ain't quite clear on is what exactly makes a neutronic storm happen? Like, how are they caused?
Well, it's, from my understanding, a somewhat complex interaction of subspace particles and stellar emissions that just kind of come together in the wrong spot in a gravitational field. And, as the humans say, sparks fly.
I don't think we've had a survey ship close. I don't think we've had a science ship close enough to really give us the goods on that one, Doc.
No, not particularly. Most of them get torn to shreds.
Well, here's hoping that don't happen to us.
Working very hard to make sure that is the case, that we are not destroyed.
Speaking of which, how are we looking on that front, Commander?
We're shutting down everything non-essential, sir. I've got the crew working to try and batten down the hatches as best we can. We probably need to keep the crew in the interior of the ship as much as possible. We've set up a number of auxiliary control centers so that we can manage the ship. Because I love our bridge, but we're a little exposed there.
Yeah, a lot of transparent aluminum, not particularly the safest in this particular instance.
It's good enough for radiation shielding under normal circumstances, but not here.
So should we all be getting out the lead aprons?
If we get there, I'll let you know, Doc. Hopefully you've got enough stashed.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
In all seriousness, I think we'll be fine.
All right. Glad to hear it.
If an NX class vessel was able to survive one, I think we'll be okay.
Well, it was a little bit of a legendary vessel, though.
And this one is a little bit bigger.
I think we have a slightly less charmed existence. I mean, we have definitely run into more asteroids.
On purpose.
I'm going to kind of glance towards the door to the bridge.
Yeah. Captain, do we have any idea how long we're going to be in the storm and in, I don't want to say hiding, but...
Well, Lieutenant Zygen, what do you think?
And
you're running the calculations with Ricky.
Yeah, and as Zygen kind of looks up from her pad, she kind of says, well, sorry, I was a little bit absorbed earlier, so I didn't answer right away, but she kind of looks at you, Doctor, and says, you're familiar with the phenomenon of hurricanes, right, on Earth?
Sure am.
Well,
sometimes called typhoons.
You know.
Yep, don't make it all the way up to the part of Alabama I'm from, but the state I'm from does get hit with them, just on the other end of it.
Fair enough, fair enough. A neutronic storm like this is similar to a space hurricane or a space typhoon, where there are just not problems, but there are eddies within subspace and within the matter that is between the stars. And if conditions are right, you get one of those. And she points out the window at the approaching storm. Now, to answer your question, Captain, about how long we'll be in there, that's hard to say. If the storm maintains its current speed, we're looking at maybe about 7 days, about a full week. But if what happened to the Enterprise happens to us, where the storm changes course or slows down, we could be in there up to 14 or even 21 days, depending how bad it gets.
Golly.
Well, hopefully we don't have to spend time in the warp coils. 21 days around those. As much larger as our nacelles are, we have a larger crew too.
I don't think it'll get there, sir.
Well, I hope not. That's good.
Just in case, though, we have to do anything that would take a crew member outside the protected zone. Like we had an emergency exterior, what do you call them, thingy to do? Do we need to
AVA.
maybe rig up some safety precautions on a suit beyond the regular ones? I mean,
Talk-
I ain't the engineer here. I'm just the guy who's got to, solve the tumors if they happen, and I'd rather just, err on the side of no tumors.
Talking about going outside the safe area or going on the outside of the ship?
Both, either, should that happen.
Outside the safe area, our normal suits combined with the ship's, our normal EVA suits combined with the ship's combined with the ship's radiation shielding should keep us safe. As far as going outside the ship, the best, a will would be the best answer there.
A will and not a
All right.
way.
As in, make sure your affairs are in order.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Now,
Well,
one thing I'd recommend, Captain, is when we do go in the safe area, we do have security patrols in the EVA suits patrolling quarters, because when the Enterprise went in that first time, they had some interesting visitors.
Oh, right. Yes.
And Doc, the XO, I'd recommend that we keep those to reasonably short shifts. Doc, here's a view of what I think the radiation is going to look like in various regions of the ship, so that you can help indicate what it's going to, so that you can help define those paths and that and those durations, so that we don't dose anybody too hard.
yeah. Well, let's make sure we flag anybody who gets one of them patrol routes on their duty, Commander, so that I can flag in their medical profile that they should have additional screening. That's the sort of thing you got to look at for years after you get exposed, just to make sure nothing starts brewing, rotten in Denmark, as it were.
And the suits do have built-in dosimeters, so that should help as well.
Neato burrito.
Actually, sirs, as Zygen speaks up, I was just kind of waiting for a moment to say this, but to my knowledge, my species is immune to the effects of the radiolytic isotopes found in the storm, so I guess I'm volunteering for any extra vehicle activity or any outside safe zones activity, I suppose.
Thank you, Lieutenant. That didn't occur to me. That's actually
Now,
very
Lieutenant,
helpful.
were we doing the thing where we talk over the female crew members and don't let them get their say in there, or was that more like you just were looking for the right moment?
Little column A, little column B.
Well, I'm truly sorry. We'll try and do our better. We'll try and do better.
No,
I'll try and do better.
It's quite all right. It's honestly one of those things where, as science officer, I understand that we are usually a military vessel, or at least that's what Starfleet wants us to think, and we're supposed to be part of a new initiative, but no, it's understandable. We are running more like a warship than a science ship, is I think how I'll put it.
By necessity.
Either way, it's mighty white of you to volunteer to walk into the danger zone so nobody else, or so others don't have to.
Well, I mean, it can't be as bad as Ricky's flying or the captain's cooking, right?
Well, now you done jinxed us. It probably will be.
Oh, right. I see. That's a human expression where I'm setting up red flags, something along those lines.
Giving it a name is what they call it where I come from.
And it's right about then
All right.
that you actually get a hail or a beep in the conference room, and I guess Ricky is technically the ranking officer on the bridge. What a horrible thought that is. Ensign Ricky comes over the comm and says, sirs, you're going to want to come and look at the sensors on this one. I don't really know how to describe it.
Did you breach the neutral zone again?
No, the neutral zone is over 50 light years away. I think we're good on that front.
Son, I was just razzing you.
Okay.
Right.
We'll
We're
be
on
right
our
back.
way, Ensign.
Anything could be possible.
Yeah, and yes.
So you guys exit the conference room, do a quick little hallway
Captain.
jaunt back onto the bridge. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Captain, I owe you a whole plate of hot wings if we come out here and we're in orbit of Romulus.
But hey, we found it.
I mean, no Starfleet ship has been to Romulus, so It would be a first.
So as you walk and talk and say all that, you enter onto the bridge, and Ricky very quickly gets out of the big chair and goes to his con seat. But as you all sit down and you all go to respective stations, what you see is confusing. And I don't mean that just in a, oh, this is new. I mean more, and this is a, how is this possible thing. And what I mean specifically is that as Zygen does the science officer thing and puts something up on the view screen, you see that on the prevailing front of the storm, where it's kind of like, I think they're called renticular clouds here on Earth, where there's kind of that rolling edge to the storm sometimes. Yeah. You're seeing that for the neutronic storm, but as the screen kind of zooms in and enhances a little bit, you see that there's little moving things that are like little balls of light or something made of light just kind of surfing the edge of the storm.
I would, if no one minds, like to try to use a talent I haven't gotten to use before.
Sure, what you got?
Ooh.
I would like to offer a threat to our game master so I can ask 2 questions as though I had spent momentum on obtain information, since we have no momentum.
Okay. Yeah,
so I've been waiting for this situation to happen because it's at the start of the scene. So,
yeah.
So from what I've heard from my contacts and just being a well-informed person, is it believed that there are living beings that could inhabit a neutronic storm? And if so, are they hostile?
So it's one of those things where it's theoretically possible for life forms to exist under conditions like that, but it's never been recorded. It's kind of like how Einstein predicted black holes, but I don't think he was even around for the confirmation of the first one we found. So it's kind of one of those situations where the science says it's possible, but the science has never seen it in the wild.
Understood. Well, goodness, would you look at that, says Early.
Huh. That's interesting. Lieutenant, run a scan, if you would.
Sir. And you do have 2 questions. So did you have another one, Dr. Early?
I will, out of character, consult with the team. What do you guys think we would like to know that one could conceivably have heard from asking around about stuff?
I mean, one question, like I know that we asked, is if it's possible, but the other one question is, has anyone seen something like this before? Like this, is this like a new phenomenon or
good point? Yeah.
A recurring?
So yeah, that'll be my question is, are there any instances where someone has said they saw little lights or other things moving around in such an anomaly?
I'm going to go with no. Again, you've maybe heard a few rumors or like quote unquote campfire stories that have gotten around the fleet, but never anything substantial or, well, visible in this instance.
Campfire stories, yeah. When we look outside in the hall, is there a little hook dangling from the nacelle?
I mean, if you want to put one on, I'm not going to stop you.
It's just the wind. All right, well, I'll Early will keep that to himself for right now because he didn't want to be talking over the science officer.
So Zygen runs a scan, and I think this is also where I'm going to throw in the complication the chat just gave me. So she replies, gentlemen, I would like to announce that we have made it into the history books because I can confirm that there are indeed living life forms, or at least some form of life, in that neutronic storm. Here, let me enhance it a little bit. And again, the view screen shifts and zoom in more and more. And one of the light forms is digitally enhanced. And you see what is essentially a Siamese fighting fish, or a beta, that is made out of sort of a dark metal, but also of glimmering light. So imagine a beta fish that's living metal and has bioluminescence to it. And that's what you're seeing. And Zygen goes on to say, the good news, sirs, is that they are not quite our size. They're maybe about the size of one of our shuttlecraft, but I don't think we'll have any issues. Of course, I can't really vet what they might eat or what they might do to the ship, but I'm not seeing any immediate cause of concern.
Here's hoping they don't eat uranium.
Well, butter my buns and call me a biscuit. You know, people have said for years that theoretically life inside a neutronic storm was possible, but there's never been any case of someone reliably seeing it. And now here we are looking at space fish. I'll be.
And that's when the complication happens, where what you see is two of the Siamese fighting fish, or the betas, they kind of bump into one another, and then they start going at it very violently. And again, I'm not going to get into the gory details, but by the time their fight is finished, only one of the creatures is still, quote-unquote, surfing the edge of the storm.
Oh, no.
We need to have a countermeasure to that to try to keep them off the ship. AC, we might need to... I don't think this works very well in neutronic storms, but find a way to at least localize a polarization of the hull if we see one coming, or be able to deliver some sort of electrical shock. I don't know if that would work. But
Just
they
thinking
do
about
live in
that,
a storm.
I'm a little worried about what that would do to the systems in that area of the ship, but I think it's something we could probably manage.
Now, are we in the middle of a war zone here? How many souls were on that vessel?
What vessels, sir?
Those are the life forms themselves, the things that are the size of our shuttlecraft?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, I suppose I was sort of assuming that they were vehicles. Either way, well, we just saw something. We just encountered a new species for the first time and then watched one of them die. It's very upsetting.
The universe can sometimes be a dark place, Doctor.
Lieutenant, how close are we to the wavefront?
At current impulse speeds, sir, and current stormfront speeds, we have about 30 minutes, give or take 15.
We able to communicate with them?
Well, we can try. Communications, localize a hailing frequency to, let's pick one of them, since they seem to be rather territorial. We don't need, if one of them shifts, we don't need to, start a brawl in our path.
So comm officer does go ahead and isolate one of them and broadcasts across the spectrum and goes, if they're receiving, they're not responding to it, sir, but I can confirm that all frequencies, all bands have been sent.
All right, well, we'll try to, if we get a little closer, see if it's a distance thing. But there's no way to tell if there's sentience going on here yet. So
how dense is that population? Do we think we can dodge them?
I would say, out of character, I would say that you are looking about the consistency of not quite a school of fish, but also more than like 2 or 3, just kind of thrown in haphazardly. So yeah, if you wanted to avoid them, there is a chance of doing so.
AC, would it be dangerous for us to try to collect some bits and pieces of the deceased space fish? Studying it might be very helpful.
We might be able to do it, Doc. I don't know if we've got... I don't know how well the tractor beam will function in the storm. So it'd be
in the cargo bay and throw a net out?
I'd prefer to not open any doors, Doc.
AC, do we have any old style grapplers?
I figured
Still
we
in the
could.
shuttle bay?
I mean, we've got the shuttle bay emergency rescue system, which is designed to do roughly the same thing.
We might be able to use that instead of a tractor beam, if it is still desirable to attempt to grab a piece of the fish.
We could do either. The biggest thing we'd want to do is do that before we hit the leading edge of the storm.
True.
So open the door, open the door, prepare either the tractor beam or the grappler, and get the wreckage, bring it into the shuttle bay, and close the door before we
Hit the edge.
before we hit the leading edge of the storm.
And will
Okay.
that still keep us separated from the other ones? They can see us
Is
as invading their
the
territory.
is the debris, to put it nicely, drifting away from the active ones, or is it just kind of in the midst of it?
I would say it's not in the midst of it, but it's drifting away from the one that attacked it. And just to clarify, because I like this idea and I want to encourage this idea, but all I would say is that, again, the debris, as we're calling it, is also riding the wave. So in order for you to get it without going into the wave yourself, based on the speed of the current approaching storm, you're looking at, Ricky's going to have to fly competently, and whoever's doing the grapple check is going to have one hell of a shot.
Well, I think it's at least worth a try. It's a new life form. As Zijin was saying, we've been operating a little bit more as a military vessel. Let's put some of that
You're dang right.
scientific spirit that Starfleet has been pushing into use.
And
Early
just for the
puts his
record,
hand on the helmsman's shoulder and says, "And we may give you a lot of guff, boy, but you're a Starfleet officer, and you have our faith."
and just to check, we can't use our cargo transporter, for example, to gather a sufficient sample.
Not as they're currently configured. I would say that you could attempt to reconfigure for the interference of the neutronic storm. So it's possible, but perhaps not probable, is how I would put it.
And would probably take more time than we have.
You're right. That's going to be better. Or the doing it with tractor beam or the grappler is going to be better. And either is going to have the same trouble. It's opening the door, getting it in, and closing the door in time.
Yep.
Well, while you space jockeys are preparing for the Ricky maneuver part 2, I'm going to run down to sickbay and start a quarantine. So if we get some alien matter, we can put it in there.
Thanks, Doc.
And early trots away.
So, we're going to move into a little bit more mechanics for this, because I think we have the plan, we know what we want to do, so let's get the mechanics out of the way.
Yeah.
Trying to think how I want to do this. So, as I said, Ricky's going to have to pass a check on this one. It's going to be a daring and a con, but this also is an activation of Ricky. So you can upgrade him a little bit. You could give him another focus, could give him a talent, could give him a little bit of a bump in an attribute or discipline. But you probably want to do that before the roll, not during the roll. And the difficulty that Ricky is going to be shooting for, I'm going to set this at a 4. I think a 4 is reasonable for this.
We want to give him tractor beams.
Well, that's the thing, is that he doesn't necessarily have to be the one that's doing the tractor or the grapple check. That, I think, would probably fall to Cole, because he's the tactical sort of person.
Because he'd be flying, could give him a value so he could pop that.
Could also do that, yeah.
That would give him 2 successful right off the bat.
Now, with all his simulator time, do we want to give him precise maneuvers as a focus?
I think that's actually a talent. Let me double check here. I know that there's similar talents. Let me take a look.
The value of Commander Cole scares the hell out of me.
I mean, maybe.
I don't want to die today.
I don't want more simulator time.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Nope, that doesn't help you. That doesn't help you. Actually, yes. Okay, so you could give him precision maneuvering, and the talent is reduce the difficulty of the task by 1 to a minimum of 0 when attempting a task that requires precise maneuvering or when there is a collision risk. So you could give him precision maneuvering and bring it down to a 3.
That seems like something he would need on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So,
And he's had more simulator time than, your average Khan Academy graduate. Like through their entire course of school.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's done a lot. Yeah. But yeah, so with that talent in mind, Dr. Early, since you usually Jaeger, the good ensign, again, it's a daring and a con. You are shooting for a difficulty of 3. You have 1 momentum to play with at the moment.
Use the momentum.
Right, I am using the momentum. You said it was daring con?
Daring con, yep.
Yeah,
And due to the talent, the difficulty goes down. Is that how that works? Or do I?
Yeah, so it's already,
It's down
it
by
was a
1.
difficulty of 4, it's now a difficulty of 3.
Yeah, and I already have helm operations, so I do have a focus.
Mm-hmm.
Here is my 3-die roll.
May
Very
I assist?
Ricky, so Ricky. I Rickied the hell out of that.
Oh, never mind. He got 0 successes. It doesn't matter if I can assist.
All right, for a backup plan. Ricky will be going to the simulator time.
Can I use advisor and I don't know how much that would help. I can have him re-roll 1d20. I think.
As much as I like just driving this poor boy's reputation into the 3rd circle of hell, maybe
I
we
am
should
just amazed that apparently the dice have decided that Ensign Ricky will always be a fuck up, and will always.
It doesn't matter what we do.
It's a little known fact that the guy who programmed the random number generator for Foundry, his girlfriend left him for a guy named Ricky. So
clearly, yeah.
XO, is that backup plan that his console explodes and someone else has to take over con?
whenever you assist in
No, that'll be spending more simulator time.
Yeah.
So yeah, can Captain Thalen use that advisor talent, or is that a?
No, unfortunately, I don't think advisor would help you here. And again, even if the ship rolled, again, Ricky didn't even get a single success, and he rolled a complication. So I think this is what's going to happen.
I got this, sir. I've done this exact thing in the simulator many times.
You haven't?
So here's what happens: you get going towards the neutronic storm a little bit faster than you were expecting. Like it's like you're driving towards a wall very quickly, and you get closer and closer. The wall's getting larger and larger and larger until the neutronic storm fills not just the view screens, but all the transparent aluminum windows outside. And you get closer and closer, and then you go right through the debris of the thing you were trying to pick up and enter the storm. Now, the good news...
Evacuate the bridge.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go.
Ooh.
So the good news is quarantine alarms do sound across the ship, so anybody who was in a non-shielded area is told to get out of Dodge. But as you all are exiting the bridge, Zygen kind of lingers and says, do you wish me to stay here, sirs, or should I come with you?
Probably with us in case communications are disrupted.
Aye, sir.
That's my thought.
Recommend you stay on the bridge until we get communication set up in the other area. We can still talk by communicators.
That's a good idea, Commander. Zygen, do you have a communicator?
Kind of pulls one up and shows it to you. I do, sir.
All right. Anything goes wrong, use it.
Very good.
All right.
Yeah,
All
Ricky,
biomatter crew members, let's get off the bridge.
and I take Ricky, put my arm over his shoulder, and we start walking down. Son, we're going to be developing scenarios for you to go through on this.
Yes, sir.
I grabbed one of the suits. Okay.
I would like to point out that there may still be some debris attached to the hull that we could recover later.
And we'll let you talk to Commander Chatham about that.
AC says nothing and just stomps into the elevator, having stopped by an EVA locker first to grab one of the ship's suits.
Old Earth ships had to scrub barnacles off the hull.
Son, have you ever heard of this thing called keel hauling? Donning the suit in the turbo lift because he's extremely used to this.
So I guess my question is, obviously we don't have a full interior of the Walker class available, but where would your quote-unquote secondary bridge, or your temporary secondary bridge, where would that be in the ship?
My guess is it would be somewhere close to the center of the saucer.
Okay.
Probably, what do we have, 7 decks?
Something like that, yeah.
probably somewhere around deck 4,
Okay.
slightly aft of the computer core in the center, I think.
So my next question is, what was the room prior to it being repurposed?
We have those modular labs.
We do.
We have.
Could
obviously,
be-
there's sick bay. We're
could
outfitted
literally
with
be-
the warship profile. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Could literally be the. I take it that we wouldn't have a battle bridge of sorts, even though we're in a warship profile. I take it we wouldn't have gotten that advanced, or would we have?
Well, that's the thing, is that you don't necessarily have a battle bridge like we see in TNG with the Enterprise D.
Right.
But I would point out, as I look at these ships' talents, technically, you have prototype reactor shielding, or prototype reactor and shielding, which means you're a little bit more beefy. And on top of that, you also have the 2195 equivalent of ablative armor. So technically, you probably could have stayed on the bridge if you weren't really worried about a chance of a sunburn, as it were.
Forgot about that.
Now, that said, let's say for sake of argument that it's one of the laboratories that you've kind of repurposed. So, there's a lot of consoles and a lot of chemistry benches. And let's say this was the xenobiology lab. Let's go with that. So there's a lot of pipettes, chemistry, bottles all over the place. But you all at least are not crammed into a nacelle like the Enterprise crew was forced to do so. However, and this is where we're going to get a little weird, I'm going to start tracking how long you're in this storm. So this is quote-unquote day 0, and every time a day passes, I'm going to require you guys to each roll me a fitness and a medicine. And at start, it's just going to be a difficulty of 1. It's not actually going to, well, hopefully is not going to be something you fail. But should you fail, you're going to start in not suffering, but you're going to have some modifiers to your role play, if you get what I'm trying to throw out there.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. So, is there anything you guys want to accomplish on day 0 now that you are well within the storm? The good news is that besides the fact that Ensign Ricky literally catapulted you into the storm itself, the inertial dampeners seem to be fine. You're not buckling back and forth like you might have been expecting. Really, the only sign that you're in a storm is the fact that even this deep in the ship, there's kind of that subnautical sound of metallic creaking and maybe a little bit of some, what could be a whale song? Just like a xeno whale of some sort.
Interesting.
Are we getting any type of sensor readings at any distance?
I would say you have a distance of about a kilometer off the hull, so your sensors are very limited.
Purely collision avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend to the captain of the XO that we lock out controls for things on the areas of the ship where we are not currently, like the bridge.
That's a fair idea. Yeah.
Given XO's indication that the last time this happened, the ship got boarded and almost taken over.
Yeah.
We had some type of scuffle on board, but I think part of that was from some refugees they had rescued just prior to the storm hitting.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember my history correctly, they were dealing with an alien race that was immune to the effects of the storm. So yes, let's limit at least command functions to this auxiliary control bridge and surrounding areas used by the command staff, and lock out any airlock access. How's that?
Sounds good to me, sir.
to get you guys some momentum, because you guys could use it. Whoever wants to take charge here, roll me either a presence engineering or a presence command. Difficulty of 0. So let's get you some momentum, hopefully.
I'll do a presence command.
Okay.
And
if you have anything like team dynamics or anything like that, would apply as a focus.
I have. Well, I already rolled it, but
Yeah.
let's see.
That wouldn't help you. An 11 and a 15. So you only get the 1 success. But yeah, Captain Thalen, you put in your command codes. You lock out as you all have described. And you are fairly confident that you're not going to have the same problem that Enterprise had.
That's good. Now,
So is there anything else anyone wants to accomplish on day 0? Now, one thing that you guys alluded to, but I probably should clarify. Usually the senior officers' quarters have windows to space because luxury. So you guys aren't actually rooming where you would be normally. In fact, to be quote-unquote safe, you're actually hot bunking in some of the junior officers' quarters. And you all are now going to fight each other for my amusement because one of you is going to have to share a room with Ensign Ricky.
I mean, that should clearly be his best friend, Commander Cole.
the commander.
The Commander Cole has such a good rapport with Ensign Ricky. And I mean, I think we've all established that you never ever see Early and Ricky in the same place talking at the same time. So,
All right. So as we end day 0, Commander Cole, you go to your approved bunk, and the junior officer that was occupying it beforehand just kind of nods and says, "Sir, reporting for shift." And then she scuttles off to go handle whatever her duties are. And then Ensign Ricky walks in and doesn't stumble over himself, but you can tell that he's like rocking back and forth like someone who doesn't have their sea legs. Dr. Nemesis, the only roleplay modifier I'm going to give you is that Ensign Ricky does not have his sea legs for this experience.
oh my goodness.
You're also muted, as is tradition.
I got 3 dogs running around the house with zoomies right now, and I'm trying to keep it on mute where I can. But, Ricky, you can fly ships. Oh, wait a minute. That's not a good choice of words. You can fly the ships, but you don't have sea legs?
It might be the storm, sir, or maybe that I'm not sitting down.
Oh, it might be the sitting down.
I feel like I did that time when the captain tried to make tomato soup, and he thought tomatoes were a kind of animal.
The Cluckster gumbo?
No, the thing he made before that, I just.
Or is it close to when you were flying the captain in the shuttle and went end over end?
Oh, I don't want to think about that right now. I might hurl.
Okay. Well, don't on where I'm bunking.
Yes, sir. I'm just gonna lie down now.
Do you need to see Doc Early? 'Cause I don't think I've ever seen you. Have you even ever seen Doc Early?
Yeah, he teases me sometimes, but I try to stay out of sick bay.
And he's good natured.
Scared of all the machines in there.
Do you need me to get him for you? I'm sure he can do some type of anti-motion sickness shot.
I'm gonna lie here under my blanket. Oh. He pulls a blanket over his head and kind of just groans softly.
Is he at least on the lower bunk?
Nope.
He's
upper
no.
bunk.
He's on the lower bunk now. As he starts to climb up, it's like, no.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's a good idea, sir. Thanks.
Yep, yeah. And make sure your head's over the edge of the bed.
Oh, will that help with my breathing?
Yeah, it'll make sure you keep breathing.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go talk to Doc Early. See if we got anybody else with similar symptoms. So I had try to fetch the doc.
We'll get to that scene in a moment because Captain and AC, who would you be handing off duties to whenever you go off shift, as it were? Now, technically, we could spin up a supporting character if you really want, but I would simply point out that Zygen is an option here.
Yes, I would. Let's say that I would be passing it off to Zygen if the commander and I were both on the same shift, which I think we are. So in that case, I would probably hand it off to Zygen as the next senior officer.
Okay. Well, do you want to change that schedule? Because this is an opportunity on day 0 to, what's the expression, stagger which shifts you're on.
Okay. Well, what does everyone think?
We
I
could
think
stagger for this.
yeah.
Or instead of 12-hour shifts, you could do them as 8s. That
Yeah.
way we could overlap.
I also
Senior
like the
officers.
idea of getting to see Cole at the con some more. You know, we haven't done much of that. So
yeah. Let's have it so that Thalen and Cole switch out on a semi-regular basis. Not semi-regular, a regular basis.
Who would cover third shift?
Let's give Zygen a chance because, you know, fresh out of the academy, needs a little bit of command experience just to see if she likes it.
Graveyard.
Cool. All right, so that was my one question for the captain. Now, AC, your engineering team, how would you describe their competency? Like, obviously, you're very competent yourself, but if you were to give a fair assessment of those under you, where would you rank them?
They're awfully junior because a lot of them were part of the prototype team for this, so they're excited and familiar with these new systems. We don't have a lot of seasoning. That would be my assessment based on looking at the ship. We, you know, young and excited.
Okay. So what I'm going to say then is one of your repair teams or the repair teams in waiting, you know, kind of just waiting for something to break. Their team lead comes up to you. Let's call this, let's say Lieutenant Anderson. So Lieutenant Anderson, just your standard farm boy from Kansas, if you will. But he kind of comes up to you and says, Lieutenant Commander, I have a bit of a problem I need to report, but I want to keep it kind of between us, if that's all right.
Is it going to make the ship explode?
Nothing I'm aware of, sir.
All right, what's the problem, Anderson?
Well, if you'll believe it, one of the team leads, not naming any names because I don't want to get them into trouble, but one of the other team leads has suggested that we do things other than sit around and wait, if you get my meaning.
Is it going to impact their ability? Is it going to impact the team's ability to fix things?
I suppose not, sir. It's just, and you can tell, like, he is sweating bullets. Like, he is, I don't know, I don't think afraid is the right word, but he's definitely respecting your authority. And he says, I'll just be blunt, sir. They're wanting to rig up a projector in Cargo Bay 2 and play movies while they're on shift.
If they can manage it, I'll provide the first movie.
Oh, good, because I was actually worried that you were going to freak out there. So I'm the actual person who is arranging movie night, and I just wanted to make sure that before I put my own ass on the line that we were on the same page. So we're good. We're good. Okay. And he actually
break a ship.
He pulls out.
If the ship breaks, fix it.
Understood, sir. We were actually thinking of playing Jaws as our first movie.
I might see you there.
Excellent, sir. All right. So I'm going to bank that complication from chat now, but thanks to chat, you're also up to 3 momentum. So thank you, chat, for that. All right, so that's day 0. You all are settling in. You're getting used to your new cramped conditions. You're getting settled in with movie nights and things to distract you from the exterior conditions. So, dawn of a new day. I need everybody again to roll. Oh, yes, what you got?
I would like to spend 2 momentum to give us an advantage.
All right, what advantage you want to do?
The movie nights and the other thing, and the movie nights are really exciting the crew. The rest of the crew around the ship is, we've got the culinary team making popcorn and drinks. This is a real morale booster, and I would really like for this to decrease the difficulty of the check you're about to make us make, because crew's morale is just so high.
I'll tell you what. So my plan initially was to scale it up kind of in a staggered fashion. So the first day and the second day were going to be difficulty 1, and then it was going to go to difficulty 2. If you do that advantage, I will say that it's actually going to be difficulty 1 for the first 3 days instead of the first 2 days.
I'll take it.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are making a legitimate attempt to make this bearable.
Right. All right.
And what was I able to get with Doc Early about
yes.
motion sickness?
You would. And what I would say for Doc Early is that you are getting a few reports of people having inner ear problems, but nothing super concerning. But yeah. So, day 1, I need everybody to give me a fitness and a medicine, please. And again, this is a difficulty of 1. Now, you might want to stagger your rolls because you could give each other momentum. Depending on your fitness medicine, you might need it.
I would assume that neither survivalist nor emergency medicine would be an applicable focus.
Actually, I would give you survivalist on this one.
Okay, well then let me roll first, guys.
I'm pretty low on both of these, so...
Okay, well, there's 2 successes, meaning you get a momentum, bringing you up to 2.
All yours.
Would hand-to-hand combat be a focus?
I mean, unless you're literally strangling Ricky for the delight of the crew, I don't think so.
Later. I'll save that for a later roll then.
Yeah, let's see what we got. Whoever would. And surely it can't be word. Okay, hey, that's 1 success. That's all you need. So you're good, Commander Cole. AC and Captain, which one of you wants to go next?
I'll go next. Let's see what happens.
Survey says... Actually, wow, Captain is doing really good. Yeah, you actually get another 2 momentum off that. Well done.
That's unusual.
I'm going to spend a momentum because this roll is abysmal for me.
I believe, surely you can't roll 2 20s, right?
Right. Well, I'm not
Jinx
Ricky.
it. We've done that before.
Now, just for my own edification, how does it really come up before? Yes. 2 of my values are basically I fight through adversity. Mm-hmm. So does that help me in any meaningful way?
It actually will if you ever were to fail one of these rolls. So I actually have it in mind, a way to entice you if I need to tap that value. So yes. So it won't help you with this roll, but it will help you if you do fail the roll. Which you're fine. You get the 1 success you need.
Yes. Excellent.
All right.
Good use of momentum then.
Yeah. So you all wake up, you report to your first shifts, and it's kind of just one of those things where, yeah, short of making sure that what maintenance can be done is done and making sure that the crew is maintaining, you're finding ways to entertain yourself and entertain the crew. And I'm just going to kind of throw it out to you all. What are you doing besides movie night to occupy your time and try and keep morale high?
Is there a simulator bay anywhere in the parts of the ship that we can use?
Well, there is, but I think it's fair for me to say that Commander Cole probably has Ricky in it almost 24/7. So
that's what I meant.
Yeah. Running him through that type of stuff and emergency procedures and all that stuff in a nurturing manner, which will probably scare him even more.
Dr. Early will be doing therapy sessions, like little one-on-ones, just how you doing with crew members on in 30 minutes rotating, just health checks, mental health checks.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Would you do group therapy? Like, would you just get a bunch of ensigns, lieutenants, whatever, at the same session?
Not unless I started noticing people act like they had trauma. I mean, it's to an extent busy work, but it's also to keep people engaged with each other, Well, I guess it would increase group cohesion, wouldn't it? Yeah, sure, group.
So, Dr. Early, I would like you to roll me a presence medicine, please. Difficulty of 1. And this will again contribute to the morale tracker that I'm keeping secret.
Presence medicine.
And
Let
if
me
you have
ask you a
anything
question.
like team
Would
leadership,
this here
or,
talent apply by any chance?
you are coordinating others that would apply. But you're already
Oh, wait,
using
no, it's a
medicine.
command though. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
trying to get
you're
rid
already
of
using
using
medicine.
presence, which is far and away my worst stat. So
I'm sure it'll be fine.
tee. Well, luckily psychiatry is a focus for me. So.
There you go. 3
Wow.
successes, giving you another 2
Crushing
momentum,
it.
bringing you up to 5. So yeah, I'm going to say, Doc, really that you get that little bug in your mind to do group sessions, group therapy, and it's helping the crew.
He'll make it like team building exercises. He doesn't want people to have the stigma of thinking that this is like trauma help, So he'll be like, yeah, we're just gonna have team building.
Oh, fair enough. All right, so we got Cole, we got Early. Let's go back to AC. So I know you had the idea of the simulator. We can always amend the hazing.
No. I was joking that Ricky needs to be in there just all of the time.
Okay.
I was going to say that AC would be spending his time working just as long as his engineering team, if not longer, just as hard, if not harder. And he would constantly be looking over all of the systems, executing little tweaks to that improve our survivability and our quality of life. Just, since he was on the design team for this particular refit, he's probably very familiar with the ins and outs of particularly the new systems, the shields, the power plants, things like that.
Yeah, I like it. We're going to come back to you because I want to see what the captain has in mind before I throw this thing at you. So keep that in mind. Let's go to the captain real quick. So, Captain Thalen, what do you have in mind for morale or team leadership?
For morale, and maybe a mix, I was thinking about reorganizing one of the cargo bays for either some physical activity like a sporting game or something like that, or I don't know how well this would work, but Thalen might be interested in getting people together and trying to try new recipes and cook different things, because or Zindi ball. It's like Calvin ball, but more interesting.
I love the reference. I'll let it be your call. I would say that the space you have to work with, since it's an auxiliary cargo bay, it's about the size of a basketball court. So keep that sort of size in mind. Okay. But yeah, just make a call one way or the other, and we'll make a roll of it.
Yeah, we'll do some sporting stuff. We'll get some different members of the crew. Hey, what kind of game can we fit in this space? And we'll just kind of try to do it cycle it through every little while.
So you are playing camp counselor, as it were.
Yeah.
Would you be participating or merely supervising / playing leadership roles?
Probably depends on the game.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
so
it would be really
ball,
unfair if the only Zindi in Starfleet or on the ship was playing Zindi ball. It would be a huge advantage.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep that in mind. We're going to go back to AC. So AC, the good news is that through subtle conditioning and subtle motions of the crew, the captain has been dissuaded from turning a cargo bay into a gumbo fiasco. Which means that you don't have to worry about fixing life support systems. However, I would say that without any roll required, you would notice a slight power draw more than usual. Now, what that's going to be represented as is from now on, each day is going to drain 1 power. So make sure you're looking at the ship sheet and you're keeping that in mind. But just looking at things, you're not sure if the power draw is specifically related to the shields and the polarization of the hull, or if it's an actual effect of the storm. You'd have to investigate further.
Somebody's got a still. That's what it is.
Also a possibility.
I will attempt to discover the nature or the cause of this particular problem.
All right, go ahead and roll me a Insight Engineering difficulty of 3. And power systems would apply as a focus.
Yes. I'm going to spend 1 momentum, probably. Actually, for difficulty 3, I will spend 3 momentum since we just have so much. 4. Dice. Okay.
That is 4 successes, so you actually get a momentum back.
Yes.
So you joke about it being a still, but you do notice that in one of the junior officers' quarters towards the aft of the ship, in the quote-unquote not safe zone, there is a noticeable power draw. Something is running in that junior officer's quarters.
Well, since I'm, and one thing I mentioned earlier, that I wear a suit pretty much the whole time.
Right.
So I will put a helmet back on and ask the XO for an escort, and I'm going to go take a look. I'm not going to out anybody yet. I'm going to go take a look.
Okay. All right, so you go through the corridors. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, did you need me to go with you, or?
Don't think you necessarily want to know, XO.
Okay.
I'll tell you if it becomes a problem.
We'll get Chief and one of the young to go out with you. So I'll detail 2 of the security people to him.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
So you go to check out these quarters, and you try to open the door, and the door tells you no, it does not want to open.
Oh, silly door. I will ask the security people to override the door first, and if they can't, then I will dirty my hands.
No, the security people are able to get it open, and when you do, there is a blast of noxious gases and energy particles. Since you're in a environmental suit, you are weathered from this, but the security people weren't. So we're gonna have to deal with that in a moment. But it does appear that this junior officer's quarters, one of the windows broke, one of the transparent aluminum windows broke, and not only is the neutronic storm bleeding into the room, there's also one of the Siamese fighting fish life forms in here as well, and it is locked into one of the power conduits that it's torn off like part of the wall, and it's like literally leeching off of it through its fangs.
Emergency close the door and look at the security people.
They are severely burned and are in need of a major medical assistance immediately.
I would know this. Are transporters functioning inside the ship or no?
Inside the ship, yes. Outside the ship, no. But I am going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, every use of the transporter costs a power.
A power, okay.
Yeah, and we're inside the ship. We can run people.
Medical emergency, Deck 7, Sector 4.
On it.
And I definitely have that way as well.
Really runs as fast as he can with a medical tricorder and whatever passes for a trauma kit.
XO, fine. Please bring some large weapons.
Large weapons?
One of the fish is aboard.
Oh, okay.
Medical alert, and also, by the way, we've been boarded.
Well, it's not doing anything other than eating our power.
Still a problem.
Did it really react when I opened the door, or was it just...
Nah, it just kind of was leeching, kind of like almost like a newborn infant would do with its mother, kind of a thing, where it's
suckling the ship.
Yeah, basically.
Baby fish gonna grow bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Damage control party to Deck 7, Sector 4.
And I'm going to grab a science person with a tricorder.
Okay. You want to grab Zygen specifically, or just a science person?
If
Bring
Zygen's
Zygen.
available,
I'd be worried about Zygen because she is a power.
This is
That's a fair point.
I wouldn't want her to get leached.
Yeah, my concern is we have energy weapons. If it's eating power, will this do anything to it?
Commander, do we have anyone on the ship with a predilection for antiques?
Some of the security, we do have part of the security training dealing with, staves.
Any projectile weapons?
Not on board.
Well, It was worth a shot.
The Doctor is actually a championship pistol marksman, but doesn't have guns on the ship because that would be weird.
Well, I would point out also, you do technically have 3 momentum. You could create an advantage here that somebody on the ship has projectile weapons, but that's entirely up to you whether you think that spend is worth it.
It's also entirely close to how, it's entirely up to how close you are to the hull, whether or not a projectile weapon on a spaceship is an advantage or not.
We already got a hole in the wall, so.
That's what I'm thinking.
This whole time, AC is thinking about how to kind of sour the milk, either turn off the power or kind of cause a feedback loop, or make the conduit explode and propel the thing off the ship.
That's why I wanted
through the window.
A science person. We'll just grab another science person besides Zygen, because she could be a risk.
All right. So arriving on scene is Doc Early. You're going to begin treating the security personnel. We're going to represent that by just a basic control medicine difficulty of 1. Let's do that. See how much momentum we get. Hopefully momentum at least.
Control plus medicine. Perform task. I would like to expend a momentum
Okay.
to
Shooting
purchase
for the
1
moon here.
additional die.
All right. 2 successes, which just gets you...
I would like to invoke cautious medicine.
Which would let you reroll one of them. Mm-hmm.
Yay. Almost never get to use that. Hey, look at that.
All right, so you get a total net gain of, I think you're at 4 momentum now at the end of the day. So yeah, AC shut the door quickly enough that they weren't traumatized beyond saving. They just took some high energy burns, which you're able to treat with thermal regeneration and, sort of set the burn or I forget what it is in real life, but something with gauze and moisture where it kind of wicks away not the moisture, but something else it wicks away. Suffice to say, you treat the burns, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it wicks away things that are best not discussed because they're kind of grody, but in which an infection might grow because infection's your big risk there.
Yeah.
So Early was like, they're stable, they're going to make it. Cole, your men are going to be fine. I'm going to signal sickbay to get somebody to retrieve them and put them in isolation beds to prevent infection. I call my staff to come get these dudes.
Sir, this is on me. We do not need to allow personnel to move through the ship without EV suits. I shouldn't have let them go. I apologize.
That's to you, Cole. I'm not there.
Yeah, but yeah, not just you. Got by me as well. So we'll put on the EV suit as well. Put that message out. And now, do we have phaser rifles, phaser 3 at this point, or we?
You would have to
any
spend
call.
1 momentum in order to bring them out of storage, as it were. Because you technically have phaser 3s. They're just the TOS version, which is kind of like that. Oh God, what episode of original series was that where they literally had like a rifle kind of a thing?
It's
With the little dish on the end.
where no man has gone before. It's the only appearance.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to spend the 1 momentum, you could have those.
Patrick's
We'll
over
spend-
here rocking the TOS lore knowledge every time.
We'll spend 1 momentum just for that, just in case,
Okay.
and then whatever the science person can come up with.
So we
Ideally.
did spend that momentum? Okay.
Yeah, we spent the momentum for the rifle.
And what I would say is those rifles will persist until the end of the adventure, so you don't have to spend again to keep them.
Cool.
But when it comes to the science officer in question, let's call him not Harry. We already have a Harry. Let's call him
Well, we haven't
Smithington.
had a lot of alien NPCs yet. What kind of aliens?
You're kind of a
are-
human-centric ship, though that is a good
good
point. Let's make him a Vulcan. You know what? Let me just quickly, generate up a name for a Vulcan. Let's be inclusive.
It'll be Devot right at his first assignment.
I mean, it could be. You never know.
Not a science guy, really.
All right, let's see. Vulcan names. What do we got? The Vulcan's name will be New. No, I don't like that one. I can't pronounce it.
Noob.
Let's go with Valith, and I'll put it in chat just so we have a record of it. But his name is Valith, and he happens to be an ensign. So Ensign Valith kind of scans the area, does what he can, and turns to UAC and Commander Cole and goes, "Well, sirs, I do believe it is logical that we would be able to sour the milk, I believe is the human expression. I also believe it is possible that if we were to modulate our phaser rifles to the following frequency, we might have a much greater effect than we would normally."
You read my mind.
Let's try and get it to unlatch and leave first.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll brace up in case it doesn't.
All right, so very important question. Are you going to go into the room to sour the milk, or are you doing it purely outside of the room?
I'm going to do it from outside the room.
Okay, because that is going to be more difficult.
Yes.
I just wanted to be sure. All right.
Yes.
So, this is also where a complication that I had saved up is going to come into play. As you go to check the EPS conduits and begin trying to mess with the flow inside, unfortunately, this is one of those parts of the ship that just has been overlooked now and again. So it's not up to your code, I think is how I'm going to put it. So what that's going to mean is overall we're looking at a difficulty of 4, and your complication range is going to be 17 to 20 on this one.
Woof. All right.
Can the ship help at all?
I don't think so, but if somebody present wants to assist and you can justify how you're doing it, I might allow someone present to assist.
I called the damage control party here.
This is true, yeah.
I don't want to have to threaten AC with a phaser rifle.
That would not be effective.
Be motivating.
It could be, yeah. Motivating is a word. But yeah, I think this is probably going to be daring engineering, I think, overall.
Cool. I am extremely interested to discover who broke my who made it to where I can't fix my ship.
Spirit just okay. All right, so you do get 3 momentum, bringing you up to 6.
And then I'm going to spend 3 of that to work on the power systems here.
Let's see what we get. And this will probably be our break moment, depending on the type of the roll. Let's see what we got.
Daring engineering. I have a toolkit.
You do. That does increase. I tell you what, that is probably going to decrease the complication range to a 19 to 20.
Lovely. I take it we can't stack equipment because I also have
unfortunately,
a tricorder.
no.
All right. Still, I'll take that. That's lovely. Yeah, I'm not going to burn the momentum to RTFM here during this, but I would like it if one of my engineering people could assist theoretically if I don't fail outright.
Yeah, let's see what you roll first, and we'll see what happens.
Case range is 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. So I would say you actually get a momentum back. So I mean, you know what? I'm going to let you describe it. How would you technobabble your way to success here?
Let's see. Basically, what he's going to do is he's going to basically hand build a portable magnetic constrictor that would constrict the flow of plasma or of the power, such that it's just a trickle down this conduit instead of the whole amount. So basically, we are flash weaning it, and he's theoretically heard about how children work. So he's going to have it gradually taper down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a stop to make it to make it kind of startle awake.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's trying to imitate a slow pseudo biological process because it makes sense in his head. We'll see.
Yeah. No, and again, you succeeded and got momentum. So I'm going to say that Commander Cole, as you watch in the room via one of the security feeds, the metallic fish thing, it does sort of unlatch from the hole it made in the wall, and its bioluminescent lights kind of light up in a pattern, and then it swims back out into the storm. And it's one of those things where the moment it gets outside of the room, the storm force is enough to cause the creature to go rocketing, almost like it was shut off with a geyser kind of a thing.
Damage control with me. And he
Damage.
opens the door and goes in to fix grabs the damage control guys and throws them in there and follows.
So
to
as
immediately it's basically slam a plate over the hull, over the window.
Yep. And as you all rush in to do that, we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break here. So we'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. All right, welcome back to part 2 of Session 7 of Star Trek Drake, where the players are currently weathering a neutronic storm that has them more or less confined to the interiors of the ship. They just recently repelled a incursion by one of the creatures that apparently calls the storm home, but they've managed to patch the hole, and there's no really worse for wear other than a little bit of injury on the part of some security officers. I see the chat's already ready with another point of momentum for you and a complication, so I'm going to bank that complication for now. But yeah, we're going to resume probably near the end of day 1 with all of you just kind of going over everything that's happened. And to start off the meeting, Lieutenant Zygen is just going to report. I can confirm, sirs, that the creature that breached the hull was able to do so because of the way it slammed into the ship. I do not think this is something we necessarily have to worry about based on the angle of the ship and the way the storm front is moving across the ship. However, we should be aware that, well, maybe this will be a better visual. And she goes to one of the screens and shows you a projected path of the Drake through the neutronic storm. And she points ahead of you, maybe about, I don't know, maybe a light year, somewhere far out, but it's coming soon. Also, hello, Chocojax. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We're playing Star Trek Adventures at the moment. I hope you have fun. Sit down, enjoy yourselves. If you like role-playing, glad you're here. If not, totally understand. And we are having a good session so far, Chocojax. Thank you. In fact, let me give you a quick shout-out. Thank you. It's one of the very rare things I'll do when I'm GMing is I will definitely shout out raids. Returning though, so Zygen points to a point on the view screen that shows again your path through the neutronic storm and points to a point ahead of you and says, I'm detecting what appear to be some larger creatures. We're talking the size of the nacelles, if not half the ship. And I'm concerned that they might be a little bit more aggressive than the ones we've seen so far.
So they ain't bigger ones are the same ones? Were you saying
no,
before?
These are more like, from what I'm able to tell, these are more like remora, or at least that's what they're patterned after, or what the ship's computers say they look like.
That's like a eel?
More like something that you would find attached to the bottom of a whale or a shark.
I don't want them to latch on. We don't need me.
Clingy suckers.
Now, if it's saying a remora, that would also indicate something maybe bigger.
That was also my fear, yes.
Oh, you think they're like the tip of the iceberg?
Yeah. Is there a way we can plot a course away from them?
Well, theoretically, yes. Would I recommend Ensign Ricky did it? Probably not.
How about I do it?
He's getting better.
Well, better is relative when it
not
comes
ready.
to Ricky.
I mean, is he though? Really?
Yeah, he's
Really?
getting there.
Yeah, Commander AC, how about you do the maneuver here?
I'm better in shuttles than I am flying the Drake, sir. But
Principle's the same, mostly.
Yeah,
But
That's
let's
you
just,
better in shuttles than our helmsman is.
I mean, my first experience with Ensign in a shuttle was less than stellar, especially due to recent revelations. But anyway, yeah, I think you should try this maneuver if you would. And Zygen, I know our sensors are limited, but keep an eye out for both the Remora creatures and anything
Aye, sir.
larger.
All right,
And-
so Mr. AC, you actually have a few choices here. You can either do a plot course, which would be a reason con, and the ship would assist you with computers con. The difficulty would be a 3. Alternatively, you could do a chart hazard, and that would also be a reason con, but this time the ship's sensors would help you. Also a difficulty 3. Or if you literally just want to fly by the wire, I believe is the expression, that would be a control and a con, and the ship would assist you with an engines con, also at a difficulty of 3.
Is it like the Riker joystick?
what's
Pretty
the diff
much,
on
yeah.
the What's the diff on the chart on the hazard check?
All of it is 3. All of it is difficulty 3.
Okay.
I would say use a momentum or so.
I'm gonna spend 3 momentum, and
Okay.
Zygen, I also need you on the sensors for this. So we will chart hazard.
Okay.
And I will ask Zygen to assist me. Oh wait, the ship is assisting me.
Yeah, the ship's assisting. So if someone wants to get the ship's sensors con on this one.
I got the ship up.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, let's see what happens. I hear the sound of dice. Let's see. So I see 2 successes at the moment. Do you have any reroll capability?
Determine
Not. No.
Okay.
I would like to succeed at cost.
Okay, we can succeed at cost. So you're going to be able to adjust the Drake as you are flying through the storm, and you are able to avoid most of the Remora-like creatures. However, as you get through the pack, or the school, whatever you'd wish to call it, the grouping of them, what happens is suddenly there is a noticeable rock of the ship. Like, we're talking almost like something tilting the saucer 45 degrees to the left or the right. And as all of you buckle and grab onto things and keep yourselves from falling over, you also notice that there is the sudden sensation of acceleration. And as you all stabilize and the inertial dampeners kick up, Zygen reports, says, "Okay, well, we avoided most of them, sirs, but one's attached itself to our hull. I guess the good news is it's not leaching power, but we are now quite literally sailing on the storm."
Well, is it taking us through the storm?
It is, well, I use sailing as an apt metaphor, sir. It is acting as a sail, a piece of cloth meant to guide us along with the wind, and the wind is the storm in this instance.
Can we tack it?
I'm unsure, sir. I'd have to see a visual of the creature, but unfortunately, it seems that it's latched onto the part of this hull with the cameras.
Great. Current course with the added creature, are we getting blown further into the storm so that it will add time and cause issues?
Zygen grimaces and says, "Well, not just that, sir. We are being taken far away from Federation space. I estimate that at our current speed that we will be 2 months away from the nearest Federation border at high warp if we allow this creature to persist even a day.
Holy cow.
AC, new priority. Get that thing
Understood,
off
sir.
this ship.
Sour the milk trick again.
It's not leaching power. It's just attached.
Is there, as a last resort, can we eject hull plating?
It's possible, sir. Our armor is ablative. We could ablate it ourselves.
But we would then have to go to a starbase to re-equip said armor.
Would have a gap in that area.
And we'd have a gap in the area in the middle of a neutronic storm. Let me think on it, sir.
Okay, as I said, last resort. I don't want us to do it if we don't have to, but if that's our only option, we don't need to be months and months away from Starfleet after having gone through something like this.
Hmm. I will check the ship to make sure it's not to make sure that my cursory assessment was in fact correct, that it's not actually draining us of some critical resource. I just want to make sure that the only problem is that it's dragging us away.
Yeah, in fact, you check your power reserves. If we want to put it in mechanical terms, you are at 8 of 9 power, which is what you should be at. And yes, Arson chat is correct. Technically, the captain has determination they can give to someone that they can talk to. So in case you need to factor that into anything.
That would allow us for a difficult roll if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, I would say that based on the sensor readings, you can confirm that this thing is half the size of the ship. It's ironically enough attached to where the bridge is. Like if you were to go to the bridge and you were to look out the windows, you would see the underside of the sucker that's keeping it attached to the hull.
Interesting question.
Yes.
The Drake has a bunch of prototype stuff on board. This isn't one of the versions where you can actually. 'Cause some prototype vessels and such have detachable bridge modules that can be ejected or, jacked down on jack screws to separate it from the primary hull. I take it this is not one of those.
Well, I'm thinking if you want to spend 2 momentum, we can make that so. That'll be basically creating the advantage that, yes, you do have a detachable bridge.
If that's the point where it's attached, it might not be a bad option to have.
Sir, I was involved in the design of this particular prototype, and I just want to remind you that we can eject the bridge if it's truly only attached
Hey,
there.
what again?
Doc, when this ship was built, the power systems, the shields, the reactors, even the drives had some elements of being experimental. So as we were testing it, the bridge can actually be ejected as a fully functional life support system, fully functional shelter and life support system. But more importantly, it can be ejected. But not really ejected. It can be, dropped down on jack screws and it's not a quick eject process, but it does get rid of the bridge.
Well, don't let anybody ever tell you don't think out of the box. Goodness.
So,
Well, that does take the eject the hull plate idea.
But the hull plating is actually underneath the bridge as well, since the bridge was attached as a module.
Well, that will keep us safe from the rest of the neutronic storm. So definitely that's a step up from last resort.
In the meantime, do I think I can do something like use since I am a specialist in warp field dynamics, do I think I can create some kind of shear in use the warp engines to create some kind of shear in the warp field, such that it would make it too difficult for this thing to stay attached.
Basically modulating your subspace field to make it unsticky. Yeah.
Right.
I would say it is possible, just not probable. So if you wanted in mechanical terms, that would be probably a daring engineering. Ship would probably be engines engineering, and you're looking at a difficulty of 5 in order to do it that way. Also, it would cost a power.
What if do I think that a shuttle can function outside the ship?
For a limited time, yes. The problem, though, is it's kind of like, imagine that the Drake is a cruise ship on choppy seas. If you drop like a dinghy off of it, how easy it is for that dinghy to not make it back to the ship because of the rough seas. So you could send a shuttle out.
I was going to see if I could remotely control the shuttle using the simulator, because shuttles are cheaper than bridges.
This is also true. All right.
Baijian, do we know what drew it to the? Do we know what drew this thing to the ship? Does it have some kind of? Can we make a shuttle more attractive?
Well, and Zaijin actually looks at Dr. Early. I mean, I'm looking at
lipstick on it.
Well, I'm kind of reading what the sensors are able to make out, and it seems that it just sort of was latched to our, the frequency of our shielding. It finds it very palatable. I think that we could potentially use a shuttle in that regard, make it a lure, I believe is what we say on Earth.
I mean, it depends on whether or not you fly
harmonic
fishing or real
frequencies on the
fishing,
ship.
but yeah, it's not here nor there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Captain. Change the shield harmonics itself to something a little less tasty.
I'm just saying,
Well,
if
what
we
if
have
we
the,
do
if we
both?
put the shuttle as our current frequency and then shift ours.
Exactly. Yeah. Good thinking.
Exo, I'm gonna need Ricky out of the simulator.
Not a problem. I think he's ready to get out of there.
He has been taking his anti-motion sickness, because that simulator would be not the easiest to clean.
Well, look at that. I simply have a complication stored up.
I'm thinking Hagrid right now.
Should he poop in the simulator?
It's a good thing you're in an EV suit.
I'm sorry.
Did he crash the simulator?
No.
Did he literally crash the simulator?
How mean do I want to be? You know what? I'm going to be a little mean, because this is obviously going to be a two-parter. I'm going to be a little mean. Yes, in fact, Ricky has crashed the simulator, so you actually have to repair the simulator before you can enact this plan.
Oh, no.
Sir,
I mean, when you think about it, it's actually kind of impressive in a way. I mean, let's say that I said to any other ensign, go crash the simulator. They'd have a real hard time doing it on purpose.
Hey, Doc, hey, Doc, I'm looking at Ricky's personnel file here. He's quite skilled in medicine. Should I put him in for a transfer?
Please no.
I was thinking the engineer corps also handles destruction. So
yeah,
I vote the farther away from the warp core we keep him, the better.
I don't know. Maybe we send him to a breaker yard.
Yeah.
Maximum efficiency.
Just watch. He'll go there and then he'll make sure things don't break.
Old Miranda class flies in. It stores out as a full Sovereign class, and Corps of Engineers are like, how the hell?
That's how they invented all the quantum torpedoes. He was trying to break down some old proton torpedo or photon torpedoes.
But yeah, so the good news is that fixing the simulator is possible and well within your wheelhouse. So it's just a momentum generating roll. However, it will take time. So we're going to go to day 2, And let's do the fitness medicine from everybody. And then hopefully the momentum you guys gain will let you get even more when you attempt to simulate and pilot this shuttle out there and do the whole shield bait idea.
I continue to wish to roll first.
I continue to wish to roll last.
Okay.
And I will be second to last. 'Cause I think my stats are pretty close to...
There you go. All right, that's 3 successes. Get you 2 momentum right there. Very well. Very good.
All right, folks.
All right. Gonna go for it.
Survey says. Okay, so this is where we actually get to do a little bit of fun things. So what's going to happen to you, Commander Cole, is you kind of found it funny how Ricky didn't have his sea legs, but you're noticing now that your sense of inertia, your sense of balance is actively affecting you. And what that's going to mean for you is not just in roleplay are you a little bit wobbly. Your complication range on all tasks, even those you assist with, is now going to be in 18 to 20.
And
So do
you
make a
lose
note
the
of
top
that.
bunk.
No, I'm keeping the top bunk.
Good point.
All right, so that's the XO. Captain, you're up next.
All right. Here goes nothing.
Okay, you're good.
I will spend 1 momentum and probably fail. 3. Oh wow!
No,
Oh,
you-
wow.
You did
Okay.
quite differently. No, you that's 3 successes, getting you 2 momentum.
Lovely.
All right. So the good news is that aside from Cole being a little bit wobbly, day 2 emerges and you can get to work at your leisure.
Fixing the simulator.
While he's doing that, I'm going to try to come up with a drug cocktail that will help with the nausea without throwing off anybody's work performance.
Yeah, because I did go to you and let you know what's going on.
Well, I mean, I have a huge advantage because I have Ensign Ricky to use as a test subject, and if I accidentally knock him out, I'm not really hurting anybody. Like, the ship will probably be safer.
I'm feeling sorry for the kid.
Unfortunately, my focus is in psychiatry and emergency medicine, pharmacology, not my jam. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Oh, there you go.
I've got my my special talent that lets me pretend to be an expert on something because I read about it recently in a magazine.
All right.
So,
So,
I'm
yeah.
going to go with psychopharmacology. No. I'll go with what do you call it when you use plant derived stuff?
Herbology?
When you do it for making
Holistic
medicine.
medicine? No.
Holistic
Homeopathic?
medicine?
Oh yeah, homeopathy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, homeopathy. I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm gonna say that you can do. Let's do this. Don't spend the momentum on that because we need to resolve AC's task first to see if the whole
Oh, yeah.
shield bait is going to work. But keep that in mind. So we'll come back to that in a moment.
Absolutely.
But yeah, AC, to fix the simulator, just a quick control engineering, difficulty of 0, hopefully gets you some momentum.
Specialization in computers, I would imagine.
Would help you here, yes.
I will spend a momentum, hopefully, to get more.
All right, fair enough.
Gotta spend money to make money.
All right, well, you get 3 successes. You're up to 5. So, you have the simulator back in working order. You have a shuttle pod ready for remote piloting. At this point, and this is probably going to be the last roll we'll do for the night as we go to a 2-parter, there's 2 things that are involved here, and I want to make it clear that you can't be in 2 places at once. So not only does somebody have to be piloting the shuttle based on the simulator, they're going to be doing a daring con, the difficulty is going to be a 4, and the complication range is going to be a 17 to 20. The other thing that needs to happen for this to work is after the shuttle gets into position, somebody has to modulate the shield frequencies, and that's going to be a daring engineering at a difficulty of 3.
Oh.
I can do the shuttlecraft. Ricky's about as good as I am.
And he qualified to be an expert shuttle pilot. I need to do the shield modulation if you want it to work.
Okay.
Now, I'll do the shuttle.
Okay.
So then, yes, we
would
do need to
either
go
of
to.
you-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I can use my captain ability and give one of you some of my determination if necessary, but
Well, I
it
was also
depends
gonna
on
pop-
where I'm going to be.
I was going to pop my determination. Respect must be earned.
Okay.
This is a way to show Ricky how it's done.
And
I'll set
technically,
myself
the good news is Doc Early doesn't have to give you a treatment because you already have a complication range bigger than what you currently possess. So
Okay.
you're actually good in this regard.
I was going to ask how it would work. Good.
Well, then I will. Are we in two different Yeah, simulator and then a different. Okay.
Yeah.
Which of you would prefer to have access to my determination?
What's the diff on mine?
So for the modulating shields, it's a diff 3. For the piloting, it's a diff 4.
Piloting. Give it to the XO. And AC would actually take you aside, XO, and indicate that, do we want to give Ricky a shot at this? The kid's got to be broken. I don't want to endanger the ship, but he's got to get a win somewhere.
Hold on. I gotta look at somebody's values. Hold on. What do you
Are
got
you
for
trying
values?
to give our
Cole?
bad luck pilot a Viking
Well-
funeral?
The captain could give his determination to Ricky, because I was going to pop mine for 2 if I
Well, you-
did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you can't use determination on an assist. So
Oh, okay. I thought there were 2 separate roles, like a
nah,
chain task or
unfortunately
something.
not.
Gotcha.
But I am going to play devil's advocate, Cole. You do have family honor and what is Starfleet thinking as values. I'll tell you this: if you let Ricky do this, I will give you a point of determination.
Yeah. We'll let Ricky do it.
Okay. Well, Ensign Ricky, no pressure.
Now, didn't we give him precise maneuvering?
Precision maneuvering, which will bring it down to a difficulty of 3. Yep.
And he's got a small craft is
Is a focus. Yep.
And he's a 10. He's a 10-4.
And I will.
it was a 9-4 because it's daring, isn't it? Or is mine the daring?
Both of them are daring.
Oh,
both are
great.
daring.
And he doesn't have values.
Ricky
Don't forget
does.
that precise maneuvering thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, Mr. Ricky, how much momentum you want to spend?
It's a diff 3 for him now. Probably 3 momentum. Give him 2 extra dice.
I support this.
Okay.
And is there anything that we can do to support him if he somehow fails?
I have a backup plan.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you would at
We
least
can
get
write
momentum
a-
back.
A glowing red. Oh, we can write a glowing letter to his next of kin.
Yeah, I mean, because we can always blow the bridge.
He
So-
died doing what he loved, crashing shuttlecraft.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get that roll. Let's see what happens.
All right, Doc, you want to roll for Mr. Ricky?
Yeah, I better do that, huh? Okay, so perform a task, daring plus con. Oh, I'm so frightened. Okay, so
I mean,
I'll
surely.
stay with him.
I
We
spent
gave him
3
4 dice?
momentum.
we give
yeah.
him 4 dice. Okay.
Yes, and this is definitely a focus.
Do make sure that the complication range is set to 4 because it is 17 to 20.
Okay, just gonna psych myself up.
I'm staying with you. You got this. You got this one. You can do this.
Just be Ricky.
No,
Be Ricky.
don't be Ricky.
I was Ricky. I was so Ricky. I Rickied the Rick out of it. The Rickiest Rick of all.
I mean, it's not all bad. It's just one complication, but you also only got one
Yeah, we
success.
Wait a minute, didn't he get a determination? Can I re-roll?
Yeah, I.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't have a value. If he doesn't have a
but the
value,
captain
you
can
can't.
give it, right?
Well, that's the thing.
that-
You have to have a value to use determination, and you haven't given Ricky a value yet, have you?
That's true.
No, there's not one on this sheet.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to wait till
He values
next,
nothing.
or you're gonna have to wait till next week to give him a value when you activate him again. But no, I think here's what's gonna happen, and this is where we're gonna end on the cliffhanger. Ricky takes the shuttlecraft, and for the first beginning part, you're like, okay, you're lined up, you're good, you're keeping pace with the ship. And then a sudden eddy just rocks both vessels, and the shuttle goes careening into the space next to the bridge where the Remora-like creature is stationed. And what's going to happen is the shuttlecraft will turn into debris as your ablative hull and your special shielding turn it to mincemeat, therefore destroying the shuttle. However, there's also the matter of the fact that this is going to cause an automatic 1 breach. So, I am going to roll a d20 to find out which system is breached. That's structure, which means technically I now have to roll a challenge die to see if any of you or any of the crew are injured in this instance. So, nope, don't want that. Go away. All right, so if I roll an effect, someone important has been injured. Someone important has been injured.
Oh,
So now we're going to do the diplomatic thing. Captain, you're 1. AC, you're 2. Cole, you're 3. Early, you're 4. I'm going to roll a d4. We're going to let the dice decide. Doc Early, as the ship buckles and as the console next to you explodes in a shower of sparks and rocks, you are considered to be lethally injured, which means that somebody is going to have to operate on you because you can't operate on yourself.
So let's see. I put that under injuries, right?
Yeah. And it, as with all injuries, as long as you get treatment, it doesn't actually become lethal, but that, I think, is where we're going to end on a cliffhanger, as you all are kind of like looking at Doc Early on the floor, and you're like, well, crap.
Medical emergency, auxiliary control.
But yeah, I think we're going to make this a two-parter, because that's a good moment to end on. So,
Dun,
yeah.
dun.
And I'm there talking Ricky down. It wasn't you. There was a freak
Tell
Eddie
my
that
wife
took the
I
shuttle.
said hello.
And then we hear the medical emergency.
All right. Well, I think this is actually going better than I expected. I was expecting you guys to like be failing from the onset. So you actually are making good progress. It's just that dice for Ricky
you,
just don't work. They really don't.
you lethally injure me, and then you go, this is going better than I expected.
Oh well,
Pays out for Ricky's rolls.
well,
You
the
are
sad,
working for the bad guys.
the sad thing is, the closest the closest person with medical competency AC would know, since he was literally looking at Ricky's file,
Is Ricky?
is Ricky.
Oh,
So-
gosh.
Medical emergency, auxiliary control. Ensign Ricky to auxiliary control.
The doctor's got to have a nurse or somebody,
Yes.
or backup medic or something.
He's going to get a scalpel out and be like, it's time I perform the Ricky procedure.
Oh my god.
It's okay,
I
Doc.
think Cole might
I heard
drop
about
kick
this.
him for that one.
My lord. Well, we'll find out the fate of Doc Early next week. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to refer to him as the late Dr. Early.
the late. Oh.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. Well, as I am very fond of saying, the dice have a story to tell, and that's kind of where we've just ended up. So we will play it out, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so YouTube, this is where we're going to say goodbye. So Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.